Well, I really like Nick. I really like the way you were. I said, well, great, thanks. But that person's gone. I said, I don't know what she was thinking. And then she said, and this is how you should be dressing. She goes, be careful with your legs, attack your legs. Because you're, and I knew it wasn't, but she was just so, mom-like. And I'm going, oh, thanks, get out of here, bye. Take this in my head. That is just that one person, I can believe it. So, now, moving ahead to the kids. First day of school. Now I'm going, now I've got to meet all these kids. And show up that day, and the news trucks are all in front of the school. Thank God they didn't see me come in or follow me in, because I was worried about that. And a really close friend of both of ours, I called her and I said, hey, would you please come to school and get me through this? Because she was another teacher that had been at the school and was no longer there, but she said, sure. So she came to make sure I was going to be okay, get me into school okay. She was going to fight off all the news people for me. So, so the first day, the day before I went to Costco and got a whole bunch of muffins. You know, the Costco muffins are so big. So I brought them in and put them on my desk, had them all up for the kids. They started walking in first period class. I didn't say anything about it, other than I had put a sign up that said, help yourself. They walked in and sat down. Did not go get a muffin. They were scared to death. They were scared for me probably too. So I'm looking at them. There's only like 23 of them in that class, which was normally 35 or something. So I'm thinking, oh, this is okay. So I immediately went into teacher mode, and I just said, how you doing? I'm so glad you guys are here. I smiled, and I said, welcome to math class. Let's do math. And I did. And I haven't looked back since that day. There was no issues at all. I had a few kids here and there, first 3 years or so, that would leave the class, spotting. They make up an excuse like, I don't want to be in that class anymore. That person's transgender. They make up that deal. The counselors would take them out. I said, yes. Another one's gone. I like small classes. It's a little bit, but you just go, that's the way it is. Well, now, get this. That first year, 2009, September, I had a geometry class. All these kids are in this class. I think it was first period. I had this one girl in there, long, blonde, curly hair. She's just looking at me. She's a junior in freshman class now. She didn't get through geometry or freshman or sophomore year. She's now a junior taking geometry. Not many juniors in geometry. So she's sitting there. I could tell. She's judging me. Look at those pink toes. She's going. And I didn't know this at the time that she was thinking this, just And has a tough time. Not very smart in math. Good kid. Her eyes were always a little bit sparkly, so I was a little questionable with that. She had a really tough time through high school. Didn't teach her again. Knew another teacher that had her. Fast forward to 5 months ago. I get a Facebook message from this person. At the time, she goes, you probably don't remember me, as I always say that. And you probably won't know why I would text you or message you. But she said, I just want you to know you have impacted my life in ways that you have no idea. She goes, I'm just like you. She is now he. And this happened 5 months ago. And I impacted that. Incredible. Incredible. Met his parents last week for dinner. They accepted wholeheartedly. This person tried to kill themselves 6 times in high school. 6 times. And didn't succeed. Thank God. They're here. They're here to hug. They're here to be happy. You should see how happy this person is now. That was not the only person that was affected. The very first year I did, the year before that I had a class. This little kid sat in the back corner. He looked like a, what do you call him? Dark clothes, grunge, gothic, yeah. Just sat there and never said a word. Sat in the back corner and just would sit there like this. One of the first emails I got the next year, that September. I don't know if you remember me. I'm transitioning this year with you. Little guy. Gonna be a girl. I haven't talked to that person since. It's been 5 years. Or 6 years now. I don't know how they're doing. But I didn't know it at the time, and I never would have guessed it. So you won't know either. You don't know who's like me. They're trying to fade their way through. All I can tell you is, we know that it's not going to go well. With regular society and our own personal sphere of influence, our circle of friends, we know it's not going to go well. So we are scared to death. I didn't get close to people my whole life because I was afraid. If I get close to people, well, I mean, if I get close to people and they leave, I don't want that. I'll do anything to prevent that. And it just got to the point where my spouse said, I can't do this anymore. And she found out 10 years earlier, because I was laying on the bed going, I was crying, rolling back and forth going, she thought I was dying. She goes, what's wrong? I said, I can't tell you. I've got to tell you, but I can't tell you. She goes, tell me. I said, I want to tell you, but I can't tell you because I didn't know how she was going to react, and I thought I'd be out on the street that night. I'm telling you, this is stuff that you just would never want to have happen. When I told her, she said, is that all? This rock flew off my shoulders. We talked for 4 hours. That was at 1:30 in the morning. We didn't sleep that night. She didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know what was going to happen. I never did this in front of her. She did meet Nicole once. Probably the biggest mistake I ever made because she saw how happy it made me. And, but she couldn't handle it. So I do speak about that love and need thing. And I know we're sexual beings. And I hate that we are. We need to move away from that. I know we won't be able to move away from the sexual part, but let's get that switch to the love part. And what happens if your husband gets his penis cut off because he's in a horse accident? You gonna leave him because he has no penis anymore? Well, yeah, some people will. Believe me. But they shouldn't. And I'm not judging my wife, my ex-wife. But I don't think she should have left me. That's a pretty good person. So it's very sad. I don't think I would be standing right here now if we were still together. I wouldn't be teaching this. And it's so important. So she stepped aside, not knowing that she was stepping aside to let me go out and do my preaching. Not preaching. I don't think it's preaching. I just think it's necessary. Because if I can get half of you guys to be advocates, and when that person next to you says, look at that training, look at that faith, as they speak, and you go, you stop it, that is not right, you don't know what that person's been through. And they've been through hell. They have been through hell, I can guarantee you that. And that person's probably walking down the street going, God damn, I wish I weren't here right now. I'm just going to say that's how they're probably thinking. Because if they're getting picked out of a crowd and pointed at and being made fun of, you can bet that their life is like that every single minute of the day. Every single minute of the day. I challenge any one of you. This is an experiment I just saw on Facebook. Great Facebook. These two guys decided that they were going to take a challenge and go hold hands and record it, how people reacted to it when they held hands. There were two radio guys. And they just talked about themselves. Let's do an experiment. Let's go hold hands. And they held hands. And they couldn't believe how they were treated. People would walk way around them. They would make fun of them. They were mortified. Talk about getting compassion about the people that they see now, having to go through it every day, that didn't have the choice that they had. They had a choice. They did it and chose to do this thing and saw what people do in this crazy world that we live in, that everyone's trying to get through and be happy in. We're all trying to be happy, right? I know there's not one person in this room who's not trying to be happy. But we got to be in it together. How are we going to do it alone? Number one thing, I got to say this, I'll get off my soapbox. Our number one goal as a person in this world is to be happy with ourselves. We have to conquer ourselves. We have got to love this person. Because at that point you go, I'm happy. And all you other people can do whatever you want because it won't affect me. I'm happy the way I am. Do what you need to do to be happy. It won't affect me. Problem is, people aren't happy with themselves. Create their happiness outside of themselves. Think that everything out here is going to make them happy. When a person does what I did, that makes them unhappy, for whatever godly reason that would be, they go, you make me unhappy right now. I'm moving you out of here. You're gone. I don't have to think about you anymore. Back to everything here that makes me happy. I'm happy again. What? They have no idea. As our religious text tells us, love one another, but love yourself first before you can love others. It's simple. I'm not a preacher. I just talk. But that one makes sense with me. When I got happy and everyone else got sad, it didn't make any sense to me. I figured it out. No one else is happy. They're not happy. Why would they be sad for me being happy? Makes no sense. Okay, questions. Again, I know there's some others.
You said that. Oh, me?
No, I was going to say out here.
You said that people either have compassion or judgment. Do you think, or has there been people who just accept you without either of this, like a third tier?
Well, I would say that most people who accept don't understand it, but they have compassion for it. In fact, my friend Penny, she's married to this guy who actually is in the middle of a very hard battle with cancer. He's got kidney cancer. He's been battling it for a year and a half now. God bless him. Almost 2 years. It's going to be 2 years in May. And he's just this country Joe kind of guy. Grew up in Coos Bay, fisherman, hunter. And I see him, and I thought, oh God, because Penny and I were really close friends, still are. I go, that guy's, well, first of all, I thought I was having an affair with his wife, because I would always see her, because she was the one person that I could confide in about it all. So I'm thinking, oh God, Joe's going to just absolutely go ballistic on this one. He said, oh my God, I can't imagine that. I can't imagine that happening to someone. Total compassion right away. I couldn't believe it. He shocked me. He's probably my biggest shock. Because he's got a bunch of redneck buddies that, I go to their house and his redneck buddies are there and we sit around and drink beer in the backyard and they don't say anything and I don't know if they know, but it is what it is. And it was fine with Joe. Very lovely person. So I think if they're in my life, there's not a judgment. They're not going, what are you doing? Because they wouldn't want to be around it. So I think it's compassion. I really do. Yeah.
I was going to say, I was going to Lake Ridge High School at that time. I was a junior in
Oh.
2009.
Uh-huh.
So I remember the
Hoopla.
whole news thing. But do you think that the parents' attitudes affected their children more, or that
Oh, absolutely.
children acceptance
Absolutely.
turned it all around?
Parents are telling children, you realize that that's wrong, right? And they're going, what's wrong? No, you realize that's wrong, right? People aren't supposed to do that, right? They aren't. And the non-strong ones go, okay, I don't want to be in there, right? No, you don't want to be in there. Okay, I don't want to be in there. And that's so yeah, the parents, definitely. And I knew, that's what I knew. I didn't have to teach the parents. I didn't have to teach them. I don't have to be in the classroom with them. I'm going to teach your kids. And I thought to myself, if I can look semi-normal in front of them, I've never had them before. Westland's a big school. the turnover in classes are always, although the next year